So let's talk about the digital version of Talisman for a moment here. We've been exploring some Talisman Tactica, and I love the digital version because not only does it literally put Talisman in my pocket, it is a one-to-one port of the main board game. So you can jump in with expansions. You can jump in with the base game. You can explore it how you want to explore it. I also utilize it not only to play Talisman. I mean, certainly I do prefer the physical tabletop playing it, but that takes up a lot of space. It can't always happen with friends. This is a great way to still play the game. But also I use it as a trainer. What I mean by that is because it's a one-to-one port, and I play Talisman narrative at the club, right? Get a big game, just play for a few hours, see what happens. But also there's times where certain groups of friends come together and we play very, very competitive. The idea is there can only be one. It's like a Highlander thing, right? There can only be one at the Crown of Command. And we really go at each other. It's very, very competitive, very, very cutthroat. When we have people joining the game outside of our group, we explain to them ahead of time, like, look, we're really nice people. We are. But like this is a tradition that has been going on literally at this point, like 15 years, something just crazy like that, right? A couple of times a year we get together and we go for the Crown of Command. And we have a little crown trophy, a little, it's like this little model of the Talisman crown. Whoever wins the game gets to keep that trophy for bragging rights. But then they have to defend it next time they play the game. It's like a little resin trophy. And then you have to pass it on if you win. So we take this serious. Talisman is a serious game. So within that framework, I use the digital as a trainer. I explore different things. The great thing is you can pick characters. I pick the different combinations. I try out strategies, right? How does the spy work if there's 6 players? What are the opportunities there? I'll play the spy to see how do I optimize things. It has been a great way not only to play the game, but also to explore it. So within that framework, what I've noticed, and you know, the AI has changed over the years. It's gotten better. It's tightened up, but it does a couple of things that I don't agree with, and I wouldn't normally do. Because, and I don't know if it's just doing it because it's programmed to do that, meaning it can like look beyond. I don't know enough behind the scenes if it can look beyond it, the possibilities, or if it's just been programmed to do that as things play out. What I mean by that is the woodlands. The AI is obsessed with that. If I play with all 4 big board expansions and I'm playing, you know, just 4 players, base game, 4 players, early on, or not even mid-game, early on, they move into there. And the Woodlands is just crazy, in my opinion. It's not so much risk versus reward. And I've pushed up this to the Talisman playlist. Like, Highlands is, well, nothing is safe in Talisman. It's the safer expansion. There's a couple of powerful monsters that hit you there. Eagle King's got some okay, you know, early game gear. But you can pick up some interesting followers. You can pick up some gems that you can then turn into gold and go into the city and shop. The city has a good number of encounters, but they tend to be gold-based. They tend to reward you with gold. Well, that makes sense. It's the city. Going into the dungeon, not even fighting the Lord of Darkness, a.k.a. Chaos Lord, that's like mid to end game. There's a couple of encounters in the dungeon where you're like, wait, what? I mean, it's a dungeon. It's very powerful. The Woodlands, the problem, well, it's not a problem. The challenge I have with the Woodlands is there's too much random. Fritz, Talisman is all about the random. Yes, one of the tactics that I've talked about and explored is this idea of random and how it works in the game, where you are trying, through legitimate tactics, to control the random, to control it when it's your turn. When it's your opponent's turn, I'm unleashing the random on them. How to control the random. Death bomb gets dropped on you, right? Someone sends death, lands it on you. If I'm in a region where death is around, now obviously if death is like in the dungeon and I'm in the city, the death is not going to make it. Well, I guess it could cross the rat way. You know what I'm saying? If they're too far apart, that's okay. I will spend my fate a little bit more. But if I'm in an area where death could land on me in 1 or 2 turns, and maybe I have to be there because I'm farming, maybe I'm there because there's some gear, or I'm getting ready to make my run, then I want to keep some fate. I control the random because if someone sends death on me and I roll I'm dead, I at least want to have a fate for a reroll on that. Or maybe I have some magic gear, Luckstone, put 2 fate tokens on it, and I'll always keep 1, although I'd rather have the innate fate. Likewise, I want to interject the random where possibly send death to someone else, right? If I can send death to someone and they don't have fate, then it's that straight up D6. So that's just a very small illustration. I go into a lot of greater detail pushing up to the Talisman playlist. Control the random, affect the random. You jump into the woodlands, man, I mean, it makes sense. It's the theme. It's the Fae, right? There's tons of monsters there that just do weird and wacky stuff. They change your fate. They steal your fate. You roll a D6. You get turned into a toad. You get turned into the most toads in the woodlands. Just a lot of crazy and wacky, powerful stuff. I'm not saying it doesn't have a place. There's a couple of interesting objects, some interesting gear. But generally speaking, I'd rather some of the other players go into the woodlands, get the gear, and then come out, and I try to steal it from them. But I noticed the AI just for whatever reason loves to go in there. And I'm not really sure why. The AI just stays away from the dungeon. Occasionally we'll go into the city. Highlands, yeah, sometimes. But man, something about that. So it's interesting, the AI, how it works and how it plays it. I don't know what it's doing behind the scenes. But the Talisman obsession of that AI to go into the woodlands.